Hi, I'm Nathan. This is Thoughts from On the Road with RV for Jesus. And today we're talking again about being prepared to wander. As we go out on our travels and we're wandering with a purpose, we want to be prepared. As we go out hiking, we want to be prepared. And we've been looking at what Paul tells us in Ephesians chapter number 6. Starting in verse number 11, he says, "Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the gospel, preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints." This week we're going to look at the breastplate of righteousness. What is Paul talking about when he talks about the breastplate of righteousness? Well, he talks about having our Sorry about the interruption, but when you're out wandering, sometimes some unique things happen. And I'm sure you'll get to see what made us pause. A whole, I guess it's called herd family. It was more than one family because it was probably about 20 of them, of javelinas came through. And they're wild and they're just running down through the thing. And even a couple of them stopped and looked at us and came over to see us within about 30 to 50 feet. So that was really cool. But back to the breastplate of righteousness now. Back on track. What's Paul talking about the breastplate of righteousness? Well, the breastplate would cover our chest, our heart, our lungs, those kinds of things. And it protects our core, our center. And what Paul talks about having on the breastplate of righteousness is this, folks. As Christians, we must live righteously. We can't wander with a purpose and share the love of Christ if we're not living righteously. People are not going to see us and see the difference in us and want to know what it's about if we're living like the rest of the world. We must have on righteousness. Not put it on and take it off, but be constantly righteous. In season and out of season, the Bible tells us that we're supposed to live for Christ. And even though it may not be popular, even though people may be against us or say something about us or tell us that we're weird or whatever the case may be, we must live righteously so that people can see the difference as we wander. And as we wander with a purpose, that gives us the opportunity, that difference gives us the opportunity to share with people our difference. And that's the purpose. So as you're wandering with a purpose, make sure you wander with that righteousness. Now, how does that translate into what we're doing out here today with hiking? Well, look, when we started out today, it was about 40 degrees on our hike. So as you can see, I've got a vest, I've got a sweatshirt on, I've got a neckerchief. Now that also works as a mask, but it's also keeping my throat warm. And underneath my sweatshirt, I've got another t-shirt. So with all that, I'm pretty layered up and I'm protecting my core, my body heat in my core temperature, which is what you're supposed to do. Now, as the day goes on, I may shed the vest or the sweatshirt or whatever, but that's what Paul is talking about, is protecting our heart with living righteously. Okay, when we allow sin to come into our lives, we open ourselves up for all kinds of problems, temptations, dangers, and Paul wants us to be protected, our heart to be protected, our lives to be protected by living righteously, by having on the breastplate of righteousness. So when you go out hiking, make sure you're prepared. Okay, make sure even if it's not cold, that you carry a couple of layers or an extra coat or whatever, so that if perchance something happens and you get off the trail and you're out overnight lost, you're prepared for it. Okay, as we wander and wander with a purpose, we go out prepared, whether it is scripturally or physically with a vest and clothes. Thanks again for joining us. We'll catch you later.
More coming.
There's babies, and they're coming right at us. See him?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Wow.
This was just staring at us right in the face.
Yeah. Wow. Some more over there. Yeah. Okay. Let's Oh, you're not gonna bother me. I won't bother you.
Yeah.
Hi.
He's looking us over. This is a different one.
Different one. The other one went that way.
And there's one right in there too. There he is. Moving around.
My goodness.
There's a whole... This one's coming right out to us, man. Look how close he is. He's like 30 yards away from us. And not even. Probably 50 feet. He's checking us out.
Okay, good. He's going to go back with his family. We're going right over there. There we go. Oh, there's another one coming.
Two. Little baby one. Two little baby ones.
Two little babies. Look at that.
All right. Welcome to RV for Jesus and tips from on the road. RV tips from on the road. Today we've had a little bit of a leak in our bathroom at our toilet, and it is where the foot pedal comes in. So there's a valve right there. We're going to replace that valve. And as with any plumbing issue, the first thing you have to do is make sure you turn off the water. So we've done that already. Now we're going to go in and take and empty out the pressure in the pipes so that we don't have a bunch of water on the floor. We are going to have a towel. Tools we're going to need are going to be a Phillips head screwdriver and a offset pair of pliers, and also probably a needle nose pair of pliers to break one of the clamps. So let me get those and we'll meet you in the bathroom. All right, we're letting the water off the pressure now. Water pressure out of the pipe, making sure to try to drain as much water out of the pipe as we possibly can and down the drain, so instead of ending it all over the floor. Now, I was able to get this valve on Amazon, and it's just a real simple valve. It was a part that cost probably less than $20. Comes with 2 screws and also a clamp, and that's the clamp we're going to have to replace. And then these 2 screws fit in this on the back, one on either side. I've already checked out ours, and there's only 1 screw back there. It looks like the other one didn't get put in, so that's okay. We'll just have 1 less screw to take out this time. So, all right, first thing we're going to do, the water's been let out. I'm going to put a towel back here. Look out to it. All right, so we're letting that water out the rest of the way, and we're going to take and put a towel down here underneath, just in case, because there's going to be still a little water in those lines when we pull them off. Now, this is the incoming water line. Right here is the valve. It's in this area right here. And then this is the water line that goes up into the tank, and when you step on the pedal, allows the water to come out through these holes around the top of the toilet. So, pretty much all the water is out of that. We are going to now take the Phillips head screwdriver, and you're not really going to be able to see this too much. At least I'm not going to, so I'm pretty much going by feel. Turns out it's flat-headed and not Phillips-headed, even though the new ones going in are Phillips head, which is what threw me off. So, and this is why my wife tells me I carry too many tools, but here's the reason why. This screwdriver is not going to fit between the wall and where the screw is, so now I need a different tool. Alright, so we're going to take and reach back in here, and I pulled out my camera on my phone so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing.
And I don't know if you can see that screw right there, but it's right there behind the valve. That's the screw we're going to get out, and we'll be right back after we get that screw out. So we got the screw out. As you can see, it's a flathead, or you can use a ratchet on it. It's got a ratcheting head there. And then the next thing we're going to do is we have a little tab right here to pop out. Now, be very careful with these, as these are brittle and you don't want to break anything, especially on your toilet, because toilets are expensive. But you just take a flat-headed screwdriver, push down on that, and give it a little bit of a push. All right, we got it loose now. The problem was this. There's another little clip, just like this one on top, underneath on the bottom. So I had to take my little screwdriver and get on from underneath, and I popped that one first, and then I came back up on top and popped the top one. So that pulls right out, just like that. Okay, we're going to take our offset pliers, if I can get them to adjust to the right size, and loosen up this bottom one. Now we're going to get a little bit of water coming out of this, which is why we have the towel on the floor. As we know, water and RVs are not friendly companions. All right, there goes our supply line. That's cleared out. Now we have to get this piece out. In order to do that, we're going to have to grab a hold of it here and either snip this off somehow or break it. So I'm going to take my needle nose pliers and try to pinch and get it to release. And if not, then I'll have to get cutters and cut it off. Trying not to damage that hose, because you only have so much hose to work with there. All right, so I was able to work that clip off. Now I should be able to pull this old valve right out. And that is the supply up to the toilet. Didn't do any damage to that hose, so we're good there. And of course, there's a little bit of water. All right, so now we're going to take the new one and put it in, connect the lines, and then screw it back into the holder back here, and we'll be all set to go. All right, I will show you that as soon as we are done. All right, so we've got the clamp on the upper line, and we're going to get ready here to put the clamp or the supply hose on the bottom, which screws in. Now, something I also do is I put a little bit of Teflon tape around that, and you remember, you just wrap it around in the direction that your bolt threads on. So we are going to take and do that right now, and do that very gently and by hand. Don't use your pliers yet until you get it tight to tighten it up the rest of the way, because those are plastic threads and you don't want to cross thread it and then have a real major problem on your hands. Okay, that's about hand tight. I'll give it a couple of turns, and you don't want to over tighten it this way either, because again, like I said, it very easily can strip it or crack it, so we don't want to do that. We're just going to snug it up, and you can always go back and check it for leaks once the water is turned on to make sure you don't have any leaks. Just take a paper towel or your hand and run it around the bottom to make sure you don't have any leaks going on right there. All right, we are pretty tight right there. We are just going to now take and feed this back in to the back here, just like it was. Clip on the top, clip on the bottom, pop it in just like that. Put in our 2 screws, and we are all done. And then we'll turn the water on and check it out. All right. Well, thank goodness for phones, because the phone on selfie mode made it a lot easier to see that bottom screw right down here where you can see I got that one back in where it's supposed to. And the top one is in where it's supposed to be. The water's all turned on. The pipes are dry at the moment. They're all dried off, so I'll be able to tell if there's any kind of a leak. The water's back on. Let's give it a test. All right, we have water flow, which means the valve is working. And let's go down here and see if we have any kind of water leak. No water leak, so we have success. And that is how you replace the valve on your foot pedal for the supply to your toilet. Thanks for joining us, and remember, wander with a purpose.